So you've got an amazing idea, a breakthrough piece of tech. That's the first step. But how do you actually get it out into the world and turn it into a real success? Well, today we're going to dive into one of the most powerful ways to do just that: technology licensing. It's all about unlocking the value of your ideas by teaming up with the right partners.
Right? This is the big question. It's that classic dilemma for any inventor or innovator. You've poured your heart and soul into creating something incredible, but getting it manufactured, marketed, and sold, that is a whole different ballgame. It's a massive, expensive challenge. So how do you bridge that gap? Well, one of the best tools you have is licensing. It lets you partner up instead of trying to do everything all by yourself. Let's see how that works.
Okay, so first things first, why would you even consider licensing? I mean, what's really in it for you and for the company you're partnering with? Let's break down the reasons why these deals can be so incredibly powerful for both sides.
The thing is, a really good licensing deal is never a one-sided victory. It's a genuine two-way street. For the licensor, that's you, the one with the technology, it's a way to get revenue from intellectual property that might just be sitting on a shelf. You can even turn a potential competitor into an ally. And for the licensee? For them, it's like a massive shortcut. They get to launch new products way faster using technology that's already proven, which means they get to skip all those years of super expensive and risky research and development. It's a true win-win.
Now, here's something you absolutely have to understand. A great licensing deal doesn't just magically happen when you sit down at the negotiating table. No way. The real work, the stuff that truly decides if you'll succeed or fail, starts way, way before that. This is the prep phase, and frankly, it's everything. The magic word here is due diligence. And this is not just some business jargon, okay? It is absolutely essential. It's all about doing your homework and gathering as much information as you possibly can. You need to know everything about the tech, the market, and maybe most importantly, about the potential partner you're about to get into a very long-term relationship with.
So where do you even start looking? Well, the good news is the information is pretty much everywhere if you know where to look. You can dive into industry journals, search through patent databases, which are an absolute goldmine of info, check out what universities are licensing, and hey, trade fairs are fantastic for seeing what's new and actually meeting the people in your industry. The bottom line is the answers are out there. You just have to go find them.
And this, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question. Or maybe the $10 million question. How in the world do you put a price tag on an idea? Valuing intangible things like technology is, without a doubt, one of the trickiest parts of this whole process.
Well, one way to start is by looking at what's typical for your industry. You could look at benchmarks, like these example royalty rates for the pharmaceutical industry. See how the percentage goes up as the tech gets closer to being market-ready? That's because the risk is going down. But, and this is so important, these are just guides. They are not rules. Every single deal is different, and thinking these numbers are set in stone is a huge mistake. They're just a starting point for your conversation, not the final destination.
You know, this really gets to the heart of the matter. There's this fantastic quote that says it all. While it would be nice to get the deal you deserve, you actually get the deal you negotiate. And that is the absolute truth. It doesn't matter what your technology is theoretically worth if you can't nail down a great agreement at the table.
Which naturally brings us to the main event, the negotiation itself. But it's so important to think about this in the right way. This is not a battle you're trying to win. It's a partnership you are trying to build. The goal here is collaboration, not conflict.
And that's the philosophy behind every single successful licensing agreement. You're aiming for a win-win outcome. Think about it. If one person walks away feeling like they lost, that partnership is pretty much doomed from day one. You're trying to build a relationship that's going to last for years. So both sides have to feel good about the deal and be genuinely motivated to make it a success. So how do you get to that win-win? Well, it boils down to a few golden rules. First, always keep that collaborative goal front and center. Second, aim high with your opening offer, but don't be ridiculous. You have to protect your credibility. Third, and this is the really clever part, learn to trade smart variables. We'll talk about that in just a second. And finally, never forget, everything is negotiable.
So what on earth does trading variables mean? Okay, think about buying a car. The sticker price is the main variable, right? But it's not the only variable. You might negotiate on the price, sure, but you could also negotiate for things like free oil changes or an extended warranty or a better sound system. Now, those things might be relatively cheap for the dealer to throw in, but for you, they're super valuable. That's a smart trade. In a tech deal, these variables could be anything: future tech support, exclusive rights in a certain country, access to future improvements, the list goes on. It's all about finding things that are low cost for them to give, but high value for you to get.
So, once you've worked through the negotiation and you've finally found that common ground, it is time to make it all official. This last step is all about formalizing your agreement and actually kicking off the partnership.
And here's a little pro tip for you. Don't jump straight from a handshake to a 100-page legal contract. Before you do that, use something called a term sheet or a heads of agreement. It's basically just a short 2 to 5 page summary of all the key points of the deal. It's usually non-binding, but it creates this powerful moral agreement and makes sure everyone is completely on the same page before you bring in the expensive lawyers.
Because in the end, signing that contract, that's not the finish line. It's actually the starting line. It closes one chapter, the negotiation, but it opens up a brand new one, the partnership. So the real question isn't just about the deal you signed. The real question is, what are you going to build together?